In this video, we'll focus on updating the information. So we have this information here, and you would click here and you would adjust this. Of course, it will not work yet. So what we have to do now, of course, is to create what we call an update option here. So you have to consider a few things. First of all, if you're going back to your receiving file here, if you really look carefully, your receiving file is not built for update. Your receiving file here is built for inserting data. So what we have to do basically is to create another file saying this should be a updating version instead of insert function. So remember that. So that's very important. So that means basically we have to recreate this file, but then for updating it. Alright, so I'll just open up a new file. I'm going to save it in this new file. And this file will focus on almost everything is similar. However, now instead of insert data, we're going to do update data. So we have to just update this. And I'm going to select here for the update also PDO. So we're going to search for the PDO example. Alright, you can just copy this. So you will notice it's very similar. Copy all of this, and then what we want, of course, is going back to our file here in our new receiving file. So I will call this receiving file update, and later on we'll just call this update file in the hosting. And then all we have to do here is almost similar to this. Then the only thing here is let's go to paste this in here. And what I will do is, just for simplicity's sake, I will just remove all the old piece of code to avoid our confusion. So we remove all of this. And then we have here, of course, this part, which needs to be updated. Yes, so we're going to copy this or cut that out, and I'm going to insert it in here if it's successfully yes. So that's what we want. I'll just put in here this PHP tag. And later on, if you say, wait a minute, why do I have all of this information? I'll just keep this one for now in here. And what I want, of course, is to match our values now correctly. So we have this, we have these here. We can remove all of this because this is in our config file. db config, we have all our passwords. So let's adjust all of these items here. db, I'll put in all here db. And in the password as well, db. Alright. So for the database, so it says here the error. Alright, so it will say here the following. So we have the SQL update, which says update my guest. So instead of insert or select, what we did, we're now updating. It makes sense. We're going to update the data. So now we update my guest will be, of course, let's go back here, will be user info. So we update user info. And then set, yeah, so what we're going to do, we want to adjust first name, last name, and title. So we say set here, well, first name equals our first name here. Yes. And then secondly, we'll say, comma, we'll say last name equals $ last name variable. And finally, we say title equals, and then here again, the variable title, yes, where ID equals, and we can maybe put some space here just to make it nicer, ID equals, if we're going to assume we're logged in as John, we want to be sure that we have the user ID of number 1, right? So that needs to be consistent. So we say here equals 1. Alright, once we did that, it will prepare the statement, it will execute it, and then you're done. So now what we can do is very simple. We're going to insert again the variables here, and all we want to do here, of course, is going to insert this, but then we say title. So we'll show the title. Copy all of this. Go back to our host or to your local host. In here, we're going to add up a new file, and we call this receiving update. Yes, since we are updating here, .php. Once we did this, create update. All right, let's save the file in here. Save this, and we're not done yet. All right, so we have this, but of course you say, well, what about our sending? Our sending is not matched as well. So what we can do is we can just copy this, and let's say sending update. Yes, so then we know they are matched together. And what we can do here is we can click here on edit. And what will we do here is the following. We can adjust just the value here, because we're going to say we're going to send it to receiving dash update. And let's see if we have everything else. Okay, we save this. Save that. And of course, so assuming if you will have two of these, we can maybe, well, later on we will do that. We can basically copy them as well. But here we have to do, of course, now here is the following. So remember, you have the sending update, or you have the sending file. So let's go back to our main here. You can see it probably more clear. In here we have what we call our include sending. Well, since now we're not sending it to the things, we are sending it to update, not to the main version or to the normal sending.php. Yes, so we're going to update this, save this, and now once we did that, let's refresh the page. And let's say here we'll just put in a new name, John, or let's say John here. We have to write now, because this is still empty, it will impact it. So you'll see here, let's put this on Mr. Yes, update this. Now you can see here it starts to update, but there is something going on here. All right, let's go and figure it out in the next video, because I probably understand what's the issue. It's not the ID, it's probably the number, or it's not the ID, but it's of course the user ID. But I will do that in the next video. Then we're going to focus on this, and then we're going to fine tune as well some other items.